Hello everyone, and welcome to Europa Universalis IV. And as you might already see on the screen, it's a heavily modded version of the game called Veritas a Fortitudo. Now, before we go into this mod, let me warn you that this will be a lengthy video. And it will be a lengthy video because this is an overhaul mod which is very extensive and overhauls the entire game. Therefore, I'm going to need a little bit of time to go in depth on it and break everything down. If you're not interested in a lengthy video, here's the conclusion. Get this mod today. It's one of the best mods out there for Europa Universalis IV. It changes your game experience. It gets updated regularly, the bugs are fixed quickly, and it's definitely worth your time. So where can I find this mod? Like any other mod almost for Europa Universalis IV, you can find it in the Steam workshop. Now to get there, you need to go to your library page, click on the game, browse the workshop. Just to find the mod, you can type in Veritas here and you will find the mod and all the add-ons, or just go to top rated all time and it will be on number 1. Subscribe to I don't want to unsubscribe, but subscribe to the mod if you wanted to download. Restart the game in vanilla and the mod will download and install for you. You might have to restart the game one or twice before the mod actually appears. Alright, without further ado, let's dive into the game and discuss all the changes they made to it. So, welcome to Veritas a Fortitudo. Now, let's see and what the first changes we come across. It's quite obvious. It's a different timeline. So we start in the year 3009 or 3010, 3070, 1490 or 1453, whatever you want. Personally, I prefer the first two because you can see the whole aspect of all the changes which they made. You can play the alternate history one where the Byzantium Empire actually survived. Or you can play the historically accurate version of it, which in my opinion is very enjoyable as well. I like this one because it's inspired on an old mod called The Glory of Byzantium. Now, let's zoom in a little bit and you can see changes they made to the provinces. As you can see already, like here for example, Mecklenburg is divided. We've got Rostock, Güstrow, Uckermark and Schwerin, and instead of just having one province here or two at max. So they've divided and added a lot of provinces, to be exactly more than 600 of them, which changes especially Europe a lot. I mean, if we look into the lower countries, the Netherlands, Belgium, you can see, well, Holland, Zeeland still here, but hey, Gelre, Friesland. This is a new province. Hey, what is this? Another one? Hey, this one is a lot smaller now. So they made a lot of changes in the map compared to the vanilla version of the game. Not only did they add provinces, they also changed the layouts of consisting provinces, and that gives the game a completely different dynamic because there's a lot more provinces you need to conquer to, if you want to conquer Europe for example, to conquer Europe. So that's a nice aspect to know. It's also a bit more correct because some areas that were definitely underlined in the vanilla version of the game, like for example Brunswick. I mean, why wasn't Wolfsburg a separate province? Come on game developers, why not? It really should be. So I'm happy that this is in the mod. I want to play an interesting country for this playthrough, and I think probably the most obvious one would be France. France has a lot of vassals, but France is also very easy. Let's change that up and actually go for Brandenburg. Brandenburg is one of my favorite countries in pretty much every mod because you can form Germany and Prussia. Let's start that up. Alright, now welcome to the screen. Let's put this on the political map mode. Makes it a lot easier and start playing this a bit. Now, I'm going to get a military leader. Recruiting a general will cost you 30 military power. Minor change, but a very significant one, because you can actually get multiple generals in the start of the game if you start with a really terrible one. So we got a pretty decent one on the first go. Now this screen, you're going to love and hate in this mission, in this mod, because your missions here, they are numerous. I would advise you to keep everything open. You do not want to do this. Basically, removing maximum province cap is going to destroy one of the mechanics of this mod. So keep this on. I don't even, well, I think I know why they implemented it. They want to give people a little bit of way to cheat, but that's about it. This one's interesting. It gives you graphics ID of the graphical display of the ID chart, but we'll get into that in a bit. Now, I need to pick my first mission here, which will be in Proof or Prestige. And I want to have a look at my force limits. It's only 7 out of 10. So we are going to get myself some more cavalry and 2 infantry units. I don't want to do any more national decisions, so I'm going to click that away. Now with the World of Nations expansion, you will actually have to pick your rivals. So my enemy is Bohemia. I'm going to make them also my rival. I want to rival Mecklenburg, because I want to get to the sea pretty quickly. And then my other rival should probably be Pomerania. So start with that. And well, we're going to start with all 2 diplomats. I'm going to send one to Poland, improve my relationships with them. And I want to get an alliance with Brunswick, start improving relationships with them as well. Put this on a bit of a mediocre speed and start off the game. Now here's the first screen that pops up. Oh, Saxo, actually. Saxo-Lauenburg, we don't want them. I do want Anhalt though. And I do want Brunswick. So that's pretty quickly to get an alliance with them. Here's your introduction screen. And it's pretty nice. We will see a lot more of these pop up in the early start of the game to explain the changes that the modders made to the game. So we'll just pass that. And we've gained Casus Belli. That's fine. Here's the interesting one. State of the world. This basically gives you the option to toggle a tutorial. You can dismiss it if you've done it a few times, but for this point of this video, we're just going to get the topic list to pop up, and it will pop up in a few seconds. Now, the next screen it gives you is an administrative capacity. This is something implemented by this mod, which is very interesting. The breakdown of it is basically you generate administrative capacity by using certain buildings, certain IDs, and that lets you govern a certain amount of provinces without getting unrest or problems. Every now and then you can improve the amount of provinces you can govern, but you cannot go over your administrative capacity. This includes for vassals. Very interesting. It's a bit of a say it limits your expansionism. If you're too greedy, too quickly, too fast, you will eventually run into a war because of this mechanic. Not because of you getting slaughtered by a coalition of other countries, which might also happen, but also because of this. Your country will just implode, which is a very nice and accurate mechanic. It should be in the game. As you might have noticed, I've disabled the music. We'll listen to some music later on. Saxony, no, I'm not interested in Saxony. Too small. Not interested in you guys. This one is implemented with the 1.6 version of the mod, Excommunication of Kings. What it does, it gives you, destabilizes your country, gives you revolt risk, and significantly decreases the morale of your armies. So whenever this happens to you, first of all, you need to keep some papal relationships. So that's pretty important. And secondly, if this happens to you, usually you're better off killing your king. So just make him a general, kill him off, make the heir the next king, if it's not too much of a downgrade from your king to your heir. Come on guys, there we go. Here's the tutorial one. This is the screen I was waiting for. Now, let me scroll down and show you that there's a lot of things they have changed in the game. Well, we're not going to go through all of them. So I'll give you, let's pick one for example. Let's click on IDs, and that's a significant change. Here it states it's been completely revised. There's only a small handful of ID groups you can start with, and later groups are unlocked. Now, let's have a look at that. Hey, my technology is on 0, and yet I got an ID group. Now that's correct, because this game gives you the first ID group at 0. You also got a lot more possible ID groups than in vanilla. As you can see, there's a total of 14. Yeah, 14 options to get. And how do you get them? Well, these are the ones you can pick once you get to level 2 in your attack. And basically by picking, for example, if I pick an administrative ID, I will unlock more administrative IDs for the next time I can pick an ID group. If I go for another military one, I will get more military options, etc, etc. So it basically is a bit of a tech tree now. You actually have to invest into a certain direction to unlock everything. And the better the higher tech IDs are the better ones. So you're going to have to pick at least a few of each ID group to get somewhere in this game. You cannot go military only or military heavy, as a lot of people do in the vanilla version, or if you're playing colonies, very heavily into diplomatic. You have to balance things out now. Very interesting. You start with the army ID group, which is very nice as well. It gives you, well, a couple of nice perks, but you'll probably be skipping them until you have a lot more IDs and you want to spend your military power on unlocking technologies really in the start. So we've read one of those tutorials. Now I want to read the rest of the tutorial screen. Now the game, let's get a state marriage, let's get another state marriage. The game actually gives you the option for that. It will repop the tutorial screen in a bit and you can read the next bit. Let's just wait for it. Here we go. So we could pick and say I want to do, I want to read vassals and annexation. Okay. Tells you it's been altered to be more involved. So it's not just the basically vanilla, very easy, I want to vassalize something, wait a couple of years, get some relationships with them, and then annex them. It doesn't work like that. We will get to that as soon as we got a vassal. Now let's speed up the game a little bit. I don't want to do that. Speed up the game a little bit and see where we go. I'm going to skip through the rest of the tutorial, and meanwhile, while we let the game run for a couple of years, let's have a look at another significant change they made to the trading system. The last expansion / DLC has been heavily on trade, and if you have a look at this screen, this is really annoying that it's popping up all the river basins. Really shouldn't do that. Anyway, if you look at this screen, you can see a different setup for trade nodes. We've got Antwerp being a lot smaller than the vanilla one, Lubeck being slightly bigger than the vanilla one, Danzig being massive, Wien being, or Vienna, whatever you want to call it, being a lot bigger. So they made significant changes to the layout of the trade nodes. This is of course, well, basically caused because they did a lot of provinces, different borders, etc. Also they just gave a better representation of some of the zones. Danzig, for example, is a lot more interesting to conquer now than it was before. You get a lot more out of it. The change they made to the trade nodes aren't the only change they made in the trading system in general. They've also made a lot of changes in the provinces, the goods they produce in particular. For example, Neumark here is now producing livestock while Oberlausitz is producing glassware. What they've done is they've added a hell of a lot of different trade goods that are being produced by the provinces, and also added buildings into the tech trees that will unlock with different tech levels to enhance the production of them. Now, the demand and supply for each different good is going to change during your playthrough. So glassware is now very profitable for this province, making a lot of money from it, but this could change, let's say, over 50 years. The demand could only be like 100% and my income would decrease. So you want to diversify. If you want to play on the safe side, you want to diversify a little bit where you're investing in your trade buildings early on in the game. So it's a pretty interesting mechanic. If you're into the micromanagement bit of the game, this is definitely something to keep track of. Now let's jump forward a little bit in the game so we can show off the rest of the mechanics. So we skipped forward a couple of years and have improved our relationships with Anhalt drastically. So you can see it's an easy one for me to vassalize, being Brandenburg, because I got the historical friend starting perk in the relationships. So let's offer them vassalization. They're going to accept that, most likely, and accept it indeed. We now got half of their monthly tax income. Okay, that's great. But what's different? Okay, well, here's the pop-up screens that are going to tell you what's different. First of all, vassals get benefits. So they get a 5% bonus, higher production, higher tax income, higher manpower, and this is stage 1. This increases the longer they are your vassals. So for example, if you have a vassal for 25 plus years, you will get 10% instead of 5%. This changes the mechanic of vassalizing and integrating really quickly, because some of these vassals are very, very important and can wield an army. For example, if you vassalize, if I would vassalize a tree province here like Brunswick, they're not going to agree with me at the moment, but if I would be able to, and we can keep them for 25 years, they can field 20-25 man army. That's pretty significant for 3 provinces. I would only get without any IDs, I would only get 3 manpower from that. 3 manpower for a standing army. So that's a really big difference in a military power change. So vassals are definitely a plus to have. So they get benefits. Now, I've got a new vassal, and they will start integration. Now, how does this work? We start off with an improved opinion, and when we go to them, you can see integration stage number 1. In total there's 5 stages. After you have completed all 5 stages, you will get the message that you can annex your vassal if you want to. You can still decide you do not want to annex them. That's a very important choice to make sometimes. But hey, how does the integration process work? It works over time. You will get events that pop up that are going to cost you diplomatic, military, or administrative points, and you can decide on 2 things. You can say, like, let things be as they are, or you can heavily invest in speeding up the annexation process and the integration process. So it's kind of what you want to. If you can spend the resources to quicken things up and you are planning to annex something, that's normally the better way, and otherwise just letting it slowly integrate isn't a bad choice either. One other quite significant change I want to highlight is stability. As you might see here, I do not have any boosted stability. I'm still on 0. No events have occurred in the game that have given me any stability, and I haven't been able to boost it. Now, why haven't I been able to boost it is because it's very expensive. Most countries in the vanilla game. You can, as soon as you get to around 100 administrative power, or 90 if you got some perks, you can boost your stability to 1 and gain the benefits from it. That's something you will not be doing in this mod. The administrative power cost for boosting stability is pretty damn high. I mean, I'm in perfect situation now. I've got the perk for Imperial Integrity, minus 10% reduction. I'm not at war, I'm not overextending, religious unity completely, so I'm still needing to spend 225 power. That's a lot. So how does stability work? There's a lot of events that are occurring in this game, both losing and gaining stability. Most of the times you will be able to gain more stability than you lose. Kind of depends. I've been able to keep my stability in my last 2 playthroughs around 2, and still making a few decisions that make me lose stability instead of spending a lot of gold or losing a lot of administrative power or something else. So you start to value stability a lot more than you probably value it in your vanilla game. So be aware of that when you play through it. Now, I think that are most of the significant changes this mod made, and I think they've succeeded in overhauling the game. The main pillars of the game, the trading system, has been completely changed. The technological system has been completely changed. The ID groups that come with the tax system have been completely changed. The buildings that are connected to that as well are completely changed. Units, warfare has been completely changed. So there's a lot in this mod that will change your game experience from the vanilla game, and I would highly advise you guys to play it. But with every mod, there's always the question, does it run stable? Now, the 1.6 patch for Europa Universalis IV has only been released a couple of days ago, and these guys have been working their socks off to be able to get the mod compatible with the latest version, which it now is, but there's a few issues here and there with the stability at the moment, so let's not judge the stability on the 1.6 version because it's just been released. Let's have a look at the previous version, the 1.5 version. What we can say from that is these guys have hotfixed and maintained this mod quite well. Problems are being handled very nicely. People have been replied to very quickly, and I've been running this mod in 1.5 on quite a few playthroughs. I'm running it on a very high NPC, that bear in mind that, but I've had absolutely no issues with performance. Now, I could keep rambling on about this mod, but I think it's time we summarize things a little bit and have a more, well, give a definitive conclusion. First of all, stability. Like I said, the mod runs stable. 1.5 was a very stable version, so the expectations for this are that stability will not be an issue even though 1.6 just hit. So stability definitely check. Now the maintenance level on mods is very important as well. All the mods that were very popular in the early phases of Europa Universalis, quite a few of them don't exist anymore or are not maintained anymore. So a lot of them went out of style when 1.3 came out, and this mod has survived. So maintenance on this mod is absolutely superb. It's definitely checked. These guys have been updating it constantly. They're easy to reach. You can point out the bugs on the Steam Workshop page. So that's very well handled. Now the overhaul, it's the main feature of the mod. Has it been successful? And yes, it has been. It's been a complete overhaul of the game. So it's not a check, it should be a double check here. They've changed so many aspects of the game, starting on the map level and the provinces till the core features of the game. Everything's been overhauled. They've given their own view on everything. They've been able to add some spice into things. So yes, it's a complete overhaul. The main question for every mod is though, does this improve your gameplay experience? Is it enjoyable? Is it fun? And definitely we can conclude on this mod is an improvement in gameplay. not only the extra provinces, not only the extra scenarios you can start in are nice, but also the changes in the mechanics of the game are actually, in my opinion, are a lot better than the one Paradox brings out. If we look at the last patch where we had the heavy focus on trade from Paradox, these guys have been implementing trade leagues even before Paradox even came out with them. So yes, it improves the gameplay, it's very enjoyable. I found modding in general in Europa Universalis a lot more enjoyable than the vanilla experience, and that's the whole damn purpose of it. So yes, double check, and that kind of sums it up. Anything negative to add? Can we please have an extended timeline integrated so we can play past 1865? that's the only thing really, the only negative comment I can make about this mod so far. So yes, guys, this is worth your time, and if anything, pick it up, go play it, fool around with it, have a few countries to start with, and enjoy yourself.